Now, these stats on their own may have their varying degree of utility, but the real value is what we can learn from them. Every generation is doing something right, and every generation has something they could borrow from the others to improve their situation. So let's break it down generation by generation. First up, the boomers. They've been in the game the longest, and their track record has lessons for all of us. Lesson number 1, consistency compounds. Boomers have saved through recessions and headlines and hype, and currently their savings rate is an average of 17%. That is how wealth is built over time. What you can steal is this. Automate your savings. You're saving no matter what the world is throwing at you. And instate perhaps a no panic sell rule. So no matter what happens in the news, no matter what happens in the world, you don't sell. You stay invested for the long term. And if you're someone who gets a little uneasy when the market has its volatility, maybe you check your portfolio once a quarter, not once a day. Lesson number 2, simple beats clever. Use broad index funds, keep your fees low. The fewer moving parts, the better. The real engine of growing your wealth is not complexity, it's discipline. So what you can steal is simply to default right into low-cost index funds and let it ride. And perhaps here's what some boomers could borrow. Maybe a little bit more tax diversification. Maybe we lean a little bit more into a Roth, or if you're charitably inclined and at the appropriate age, maybe you take advantage of QCDs or qualified charitable distributions. Those could help to reduce your RMDs or satisfy your RMDs if you're at that age or down the road. But these are options that can lower your tax bill and give you greater flexibility with your retirement income. Next is Gen X. This is often called the squeeze generation because they're juggling kids and a mortgage and aging parents, but yet they're still finding a way to save. So lesson 1, guardrails under pressure. Gen X proves that you can continue to save even when life is complicated. On average, they're still saving 15% of their income. Yes, that does include the employer match, but it still counts. It's money going into your account. So what you can steal from this is maybe you set a savings floor. Maybe you don't let your savings rate dip below, say, 10 or 12%. You gradually try to increase it over time. If you get a bonus, you put part of that bonus into your investments. You do what you can to keep your savings rate stable and growing over time. Lesson number 2, risk management is wealth management. Term life insurance, disability insurance, emergency savings, estate documents, none of these things are exciting or flashy, but they're documents that you need or insurances that you need in place to have a rock-solid foundation to your financial plan. They're the things that keep things from blowing up. Here's what you can steal from this. Do an annual resilience audit where you check your documentation, make sure your beneficiaries are up to date, check if you need any updates to your estate plan, make sure you check on your emergency fund. Is it in place and is it healthy and robust enough to cover your expenses should an emergency happen, or does it need some replenishing? And also, while you're at it, make sure that you have the proper insurances in place because this may change over time. Here's what Gen X can borrow. Maybe they lean a little bit more into the Roth like millennials. This would give them greater tax flexibility when they eventually do get to retirement. And maybe they're willing to embrace more negotiations or career pivots like Gen Z. Now let's talk millennials. They've taken a very different approach, and there's wisdom here too. Lesson 1, tax-free tomorrow. They're choosing the Roth on purpose. They're trading today's deduction for tomorrow's flexibility. That is a long-run, high-value move. If your tax rate is moderate or you expect it to increase in the future, take advantage of that Roth 401k or that Roth IRA today so you can lock in these lower rates. And also, if your company offers an HSA option, that is a great account to take advantage of because you get triple tax advantage on your money. You get to put it in tax-free, it gets to grow tax-free, and when you eventually take it out for medical-related expenses, it comes out completely tax-free. Lesson 2, automate the right habits. Auto-enroll, auto-escalate, set it and forget it with index funds, completely remove willpower from this process. What you can steal is turning on auto-escalation of 1 or 2% until you hit the higher savings target that you're aiming for. What millennials can borrow from other generations, from baby boomers, they can identify that it takes the long haul to build wealth, that you have to stay in the game. And looking at Gen X, we can learn that you don't have to stop your savings just just because life gets complicated. You can still find a way to prioritize putting something away for your future. And finally, Gen Z, the newcomers. Even early on, they're showing us two powerful edges. Lesson number 1, start now, keep fixed costs low. An 11% savings rate in your 20s can beat a 20% savings rate in your 40s. What this generation has is time on their side. Even putting modest amounts away can be very impactful for your future. Steal this. Anytime you get a raise, put 50% of that raise towards your investments and put 50% towards your lifestyle. It's really the best of both worlds, and this allows you to hold back on inflating your lifestyle too much. Lesson number 2, skill stacking equals income compounding. Treat your career and treat yourself like your own portfolio. Invest in new skills, take classes and certifications, branch out into new areas, network. You want to do whatever you can to grow your income over time. This is your most powerful tool. What you can steal is knowing that an annual raise isn't always something that magically happens. You might have to ask for an inflation adjustment. You might have to negotiate with your boss. You might have to completely pivot and change companies or careers, but know that your income should be increasing over time, and it is something you will actively have to work on. What Gen Z can steal, again, they can look to the boomers and know that building wealth takes patience, and they're in the first stages. So what they need to do is just continue. And as they look at Gen X, maybe they borrow some of those risk controls. Maybe they know to build up an emergency fund for when life inevitably throws you a curveball. So here's the big picture. Benchmarking is motivating, but the only race that matters is the one you're running against your past self. Have you built up your income this year? Have you increased your net worth? Have you built up your cash reserves so your emergency fund is in a better place? Have you added new skills? If you can borrow one positive habit from a generation next to you and implement it this month, you're going to be ahead of the game.